we've got a pretty big gain there, especially relative to other movements here in the U.S. and around the world. An overall index of China tech ADRs up 2.8%, but NIO's not a part of that rally. NIO, that electric vehicle ADR, is down 5.3%. This as their results and outlook missed analyst expectations. Investors not liking it. And then finally, to end in Europe, we have very small moves, but one move that stands out overall is Credit Suisse. That banking ADR down about 2%, Charlie.
Okay, we thank you very much. Abigail Doolittle checking out the ADRs. And again, recapping stocks mix, Dow higher, S&P, NASDAQ lower, S&P down 0.3. I'm Charlie Pellet. That is a Bloomberg Business Flash.
This is Balance of Power with David Weston.
The Ukrainians need to be able to move troops forward and move them forward quickly.
We don't know how much the Fed needs to raise rates to contain inflation.
Where the world of politics meets the world of business.
The weakest thing about us is what's taking place in Congress and in the country.
Could we have a recession in the future? Absolutely. But so far, it looks like we're doing a pretty good job.
That's the big thing. We want to avoid a fight with China for all kinds of reasons.
Balance of Power with David Weston on Bloomberg Radio.
Coming to terms with deficits if no one is willing even to discuss entitlements, what the CHIPS and Science Act could mean for American manufacturing, and India's pivotal role in U.S.-China relations as we head to a meeting of the Quad. From the Bloomberg Interactive Broker Studio in New York, welcome to the second hour of Balance of Power. I'm David Weston. India is very much in the news these days, having just hosted a meeting of the G20 finance ministers and central bankers, and now this Friday we'll be hosting a meeting of the so-called Quad. That's the group of nations that include the United States, Australia, Japan, and India. To some extent, it's been seen as being in between the United States and China in the dispute over Ukraine. And we turned out to somebody who really understands India terribly well. It's Tim Romer, APCO's Executive Director and Strategic Counselor. Mr. Romer earlier served as U.S. Ambassador to India after 12 years in Congress representing Indiana's 3rd District. So, Mr. Ambassador, thank you so much for being back with us. Appreciate it. Give us the perspective as you see it from India's point of view, because we sort of say, why is India on the sidelines? Why don't they get with the good guys, the democracies here, against Russia and putting pressure on China? I suspect India doesn't see it quite that way.
Well, David, my pleasure to be with you again. I always enjoy your show and your good questions. When we look at the world and the geopolitical trends today, certainly we're still coming out of the challenges of COVID, the supply chain, inflationary pressures. The Ukraine war is dividing the world.